And good afternoon and welcome to Diane Writes. Thanks so much for the raid, Shy Red Fox. Oh my god, look at this, there's so many people here. This is great. Hi Lorraine, hi Secondhand Samurai. Hi Laura. Laura Bones is in the house. Hefe is in the house. Hello Swan, nice to see you. Welcome, thank you for the, take a drink advice. That's helpful. Hi Jokes, nice to see you lurking. You're actually catching one of my streams again, says Lorraine. Yay! Awesome. That's awesome. I'm glad to see you. Do you know that we have like 13 hours of straight writing streams planned for the Envolite Streaming Core today? I was looking at the calendar. I'm like, holy crap, this is going to be amazing. I hope we can keep this up. I don't know if we can, but I'll show you the schedule here. I mean, like, okay, there's lots of great Envolite streamers who are not streaming writing streams, so make sure you check them out too. But, you know, I figure I'll, like, give you the rundown here. I'm just gonna put my main screen up. There we go. Alright, so here's our calendar. So, Shy Red Fox started us off with her writing sprints, and then after I'm done, we're gonna raid Black Maggot, who will be working on his novel. He's an amazing writer, by the way. I was checking out his book, God Noise, which is available on World Anvil's manuscripts, I think. I think it's public. And wow, like, he's a poet. It's amazing. Then we have the indomitable writer Greg, who I'm taking a page from his book today, because we're going to have a slightly different setup once we get going. Right? He does Pomodoro style focused periods of work, right? It doesn't have to be a sprint. We call them writing sprints, but they don't have to be, right? And, basically we work and we work for 15 minutes and then we break for 5 and then we work for 15 minutes and never the twain shall meet. And nothing but the zombie apocalypse is going to stop us from working. That's the plan anyway. So we're going to try that today. Then overlapping here we have Stormbrill. He usually does amazing art. He's the creator of the Catharis world setting with all the god husks, which is really cool. But after Greg is done, Coffee Quills will be taken over, and then after Coffee Quills we have Darth Nicholas at the Late Night Closet Forge, and shout out to him because he made my stream timer, which is kind of a this is kind of the generic, this is what it's going to look like example. He's working on some custom ones for me, but he wisely and rightfully took some time for himself yesterday, so we'll have that next week. Or maybe on Sunday for the World Forge. We'll have to see. Anyway, I figured we would start at 10 after, and that's when we get to work. Is the webcam blurry for anyone when I went into tiny mode? It does seem to be a little bit blurry today. Okay, I have like a crap video card. I will try shutting down some background things here, because I had to... Normally I like to reboot like half an hour before I start, but I was not able to do that today because for some reason my screen just went blank and wouldn't fire up, and I had to reboot in order to fix it like 10 minutes before I started. The webcam compresses more on smaller sizes. You have a 480 P60 quality stream overall. Yeah, it's because I have a shitful video card. Sorry guys. Right, but hey, it's a writing stream. It's not really, intended for like super games, so I don't know that I care that much, as long as it's not bothering anybody else. Barbarossa is here. Hi Barbarossa. He says, hey Sable, what happened to all your tabs? I can read some of them. Oh, well, because I rebooted a bunch of things, so I know I'm like the queen of open tabs. So, but that's all right. So it's September, and I'm basically already started Preptober for NaNoWriMo. I'm going to call it Preptember. Playful banter is fun. It sure is. I agree. Yes, we're gonna still do playful banter, but we're gonna do it between focused work periods. I have 1 minute, so maybe I will show you exactly what I'm doing after. But one thing I will do is I will set up. Is this what I'm working? No, that's okay. So this is the novel I'm working on, but I'm looking for. There we go, the editing page. I am currently in the process of putting my entire 3-book, well, almost 4-book now, manuscripts of my series onto manuscripts at World Anvil so that I can, work with it on on manuscripts, because I think it's just a superior editing software. And as I go, I'm also doing my major edits to put everything in order for doing NaNoWriMo this year, because I'm going to finish book 3. Darth had to cancel a stream tonight. Oh no! That sucks so bad. But it's still on the calendar. Pooh. I've started at Prepgist, says FA. So I guess I'm doing Preptember too. Right? Lorraine says casually laying clues for players to find the kidnapped PC. Yeah, I thought Darth canceled yesterday, is what Lorraine says. Yeah, Darth did cancel yesterday. But is he canceling today too? He said he was taking yesterday for his break. Right? Which is totally understandable. Anyway, we should get started on a focused work period. So we're going to do that, and I'll go back to the chat after. Let's see here. All right, so it's just 15 minutes of focused work, guys. We will go to the sprint screen. Ready, steady, and go. I don't like putting things like that in there. And I think I have a way not to. Just kind of randomly dropping bits of info like that. I think that I can go back. What chapter was that? Part 2 is Aces High, so it's in Aces High somewhere. Okay. Let's try chapter, well... Okay, that's not it. That whole chapter won't be it. Next chapter. See, I already referenced some wood elves. So rather than just dropping the fact that Kanathi is a thing there, I can probably say that my wood elves are from Kanathi. And then people already know it's a thing, so I don't have to just drop it on somebody's head. There we go. That's where I can put it. Yeah, that's better. It's just a throwaway line, but at least I've already mentioned Kanathi. I don't just pull it out of my ass in that scene with a sudden info dump. It's always a pain. I think this actually should be in Aces High. Yes. There we go. See, that's the cool thing about this format. You can just pick it up and move the shit. Alright, back to where I was. Oh no, I screwed that up. Okay. Well, I didn't screw it up that bad. I just have to... I forgot that I changed the name. That's alright. I can re-change the name. This is one reason why we do editing. So that we can remember that shit. Make it all consistent. That his name was Greybracken because I renamed someone. Okay, that's not important right now. It'll be in here. Probably here. No, I was wrong. There we go. I couldn't remember the other guy's name, but now I remember. So remembered Foxfire and Greybracken. He wondered Together they two were mustering for war. And that little callback there serves two purposes, right? One is to impress on the reader that this is like a big thing that is affecting everybody because war was just declared, right? But the other is to remind the reader about my mentioning Kanathi because I only mention it as a throwaway line, right? But if you remember Foxfire and Greybracken, which you will because they did something important, right? You'll remember, oh yeah, Kanathi was that like wood elven jungle nation, right? And that's all you need to know at this point. So there's alternatives to info dumps for those of you. This is like, you know, journey, advancing your writing technique, right? It's something that I had to work to learn. Oh, good night, Hefe. Thank you for joining me. Great to see you. Everybody knows I need a pilot there. That's not necessary. Yeah, I had to change that because actually there was one point where I said specifically that Shandar's father was proud of him. Welcome, DM Stretch. We are in the middle of a focused work period. We have about 4 minutes left to go. If you hear me muttering away, it's because I'm doing editing. Oh, there's another thing. I probably should put something about Orcish history. Oh no. No, I did, so there. Oh, sparkly thing. I cast Bolt as a new follower. Thank you for the follow. Welcome. I've seen you around in other streams, I think. but I'm not sure you've been in this one. Welcome, welcome. I'd like to know the answer to that question too, Stretch, but I suspect it has to do with deployment. Military guys, they disappear off the map a lot and then come back and they're like, yeah, I was, assigned to do something. So that needs an emphasis. There we go, we're at the end of our focused work period here. If you were sprinting, tell me how you did, guys. I managed to get most of the scene done and obviously some stuff updated, which is like really cool. Very happy about that. Catching back up. Alright. Okay, Darth canceled yesterday, so not today, that's good. I know the timer at the top is spiffy, isn't it, Shyrod Fox? It's so cool, right? I'm looking forward to the custom ones, but this is awesome and it works for what I need to do, and that's great. Barbarossa asked, what is your advice for writing fight scenes? Master Lorne has good advice. He says, my advice is short sentences interjecting the scene with dialogue. Think Princess Bride and Inigo Montoya scenes and keep the fight short. Too many writers make them go on for pages. That depends on your tone though, right? If it's a grim, gritty fight to the death slugging through mud on the Western Front, then you probably don't want a lot of dialogue unless you need to break up the major tension, right? Oh, Shyrod Fox highlighted her message. I only got 90 words. I had to take the ferrets downstairs to play earlier. Well, fair enough. 90 words is 90 words you didn't have before, which is great. Right? Yeah, Hefe says, I'd say make it about more than just the combat, but also the emotions the fighters have, and Fox agrees. Going inside the fighters' heads, emotions, blah, 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 slows the fight down and just makes it longer. And, but Fox says, a little of their thoughts helps me as I read. Okay, the balance there is that, yes, the idea is you want to convey the sense. It depends on the battle, all right? If you're talking about like a personal hand-to-hand combat, oh, thank you, posture check. Good idea. I really need to stretch today. But if you're talking about a personal hand-to-hand battle with, two one-on-one opponents, then yeah, what you want to do is get into the thoughts of the character who is, making their decisions. Okay, he went right, so now I'm going to go left. Oh, he dropped his right, so I can get inside his defenses, whatever. And you really don't want to spend a huge amount of time on emotions other than fear, right? Because otherwise you're not going to create the sense of urgency. And if you've ever been in a fight, then you really don't have time to think much. You've got to rely more on training. On the other hand, if you're looking at, we're going to cover the spring offensive, right? Then there's long periods of waiting, there's tactical decisions, there's long periods of misery, right? And you can discuss those. Emotions are very important, actually, and have a great effect on building tension and also creating mood. So, I guess the answer to that is it depends on whether you're writing a fight or a battle. The other thing is don't go into too many technical details but know what you're talking about. Like, understand the physics of how a fight works. If you can't picture it in your mind, get people who know something about martial arts to block it out for you, which is what I do, right? Or I do it myself and block it out that way, right? Yeah, Lorraine says you can go with a bit longer if your fights are more ship-to-ship type, with this huge amount of space to maneuver around, like the Lost Fleet, right? Another good example of that is the Honor Harrington books, right? Yeah. I haven't read the Lost Fleet yet. I have some of them. I want to get them all first. Is Zog okay? Yeah, he's probably deployed to help clean up the mess after the hurricane. So, and I'm so sorry you lost your house in Irma, Master Lauren. That is the shittiest thing. 34 words from Lorraine. That's 34 words you didn't have. Oh, we got a 30-second countdown here. Well, yeah, then I'm going to get back to it. We are going to take a couple of breaks in the middle. It is 3 hours straight, guys, so... Alright, I have a question for you guys, actually. Right? I have 2 interstellar wars in this book, and this one is about to start. Well, okay, the first one happened a generation ago for the elves, and then the second one is just starting, right? It's clearly an analog for World War I and World War II in many ways, and the first war they called the Great War. But do you think they should just call it the Interstellar War right from the beginning? I'm kind of going back and forth on that, in which case now we would have the first and second Interstellar War. Whoop.
Kitty collection.
Kitty collection? Oh, yeah. Sorry, I gotta grab the kitty. She's gotta go to the vet. It's her first vet appointment today. Keep writing, guys. Hey, Pam.
First you notice where the fucking bag is.
Yeah. See you guys later. Oh no, my sprint timer started again. I forgot. Oh well. Guess we're gonna have a long sprint, guys. It's linked to this screen. I keep forgetting that. It doesn't just run in the background. I guess I can quickly glance at the chat for a moment or two while that's going on then. I don't remember which way is which for longitude and latitude. I think latitude is that way, right? From the equator. Yes, okay. Thanks, Lauren. Speed that up. So there we go. Now I have a description instead of an info dump. What? Did I do something wrong there? Oh, well, I'll get there. I'm sure I'll find that recruiting station sentence. Yeah, I know, this is old. Like, remember, I wrote this originally like 10 years ago. So occasionally I still find really bad writing that I have to fix. You guys get to see it all in its ugly glory. I figured this doesn't embarrass me at all because that's what edits are for. So yes, if you see something horrible that desperately needs fixing, which clearly that does, don't hesitate to let me know. Yeah, you're right. That's a fucked up sentence. Are you upgrading from bad fan fiction writing style? Correct, that is exactly what I'm doing. How about recruiting station wasn't far from the docks. Wasn't far from the harbor. That's better, isn't it? No, wait, no, because it's docks, because it's like... No, it has to... Hold on. I changed this map. Ah, shit. It is a spaceport, yes, but it's not in space. It's remember, this is Age of Sail in space, but there's still the Age of Sail element. So people actually land on, like, surfaces of things. You know, it's not like... I mean, there are floating space stations, but they are the exception, not the rule. Hangars isn't exactly accurate either. Docking bays might be appropriate. That's not bad. But I think I have to revisualize what the hell I was doing here. Okay, known space. Peridot. What I need is my map. Spaceports can still be land-based like airports. Yeah, you're right. I've done some, a lot of, going around back and forth on that. Uh-oh, I'm dropping a lot of frames. Because I went to look at something on World Anvil. I wonder how this is going to handle my map. I bet it's going to hate it. Of course, this is a very graphic-intensive page, this one. No, I want this, I think. Okay, what I want, I think I have to put it either probably in the barrel C, because, oh, that's a little closer than I wanted, but see, this is Kanathi. Logical place. Some of the craft land on water and some of them land on land, so it would make sense to put it most. I see that I've like, okay, but this is the Sapphire Sea here, so probably the harbor would be on those islands, wouldn't it? Or yeah. Okay, well, we'll leave this up because I may need this map again. And in the meantime, we'll go back here. Not far from the... Oh, I even said ground landing craft only here, didn't I? In their branches. Oh, now I gotta look at the flora and fauna here, or the I need the ecological map. Well, there's no reason to force them to be land-based. It's just when I originally pictured it, I didn't have a map. So, we will change that. Almost... Kanathi Harbor is more relaxed than Skyreach. You almost couldn't see it from above. Nope. Nope, we don't want that. Well, maybe they don't go to that island for a reason. Okay. Since it was... Sapphire Sea. Even they had a dog. The docks were extensive. Landing, what'd you say, docking bays? Hangars. Okay. Alright, so we're in the chatty portion now. Theoretically. Not that I didn't yap the whole time. But that's what I'm doing, right? I'm thinking out loud. Alright, before the second, Lorraine says she'd say the Great War, with the Great War or that analog, and then when the second occurred, have 1 and 2. Yeah, that's kind of the plan. I just wanted to know if they called it the Interstellar War right to start with, or if they called it the Great War until the second Interstellar War broke out. Right? You know, like how World War I was the Great War until there was a second World War, and then it was World War I and World War II. Right? Master Lauren recommends that the novelization of Revenge of the Sith by Matt Stover does a really good job of describing the duel between the Jedi at the beginning of the novel, way better than what was on screen. Took into account the fighting styles and actions everyone was taking. That's good reference too. That's, yeah, just to be cautious not to overdo the technical information. Because, you know, it's good to have some. Nice title drop. The poster claimed we are looking for a few good elves. Actually, I got the title from that line. I'd made that up, and I was still looking for a title, and then I'm like, that's the title. So, Siobhan got 144 words. That's excellent. Shy Red Fox only got 51 words, but couldn't concentrate worth a darn. Was that my fault because I was yapping? If it was, please tell me. We can do this different. Right? Some people talk, and I find that, I don't know, lots of people don't like dead air. So, Shy Red Fox says, would the media have coined the name of the war? They tend to go for as attention-getting as possible. So then, yeah, Interstellar War. Okay, actually, that's a good point. There is a paper that goddamn thing again. Okay, there's this program that keeps popping up, and I think it takes like half an hour to try to fire up, which is why I try to fire up my computer half an hour before, and it's something that my husband uses and I do not use, and if I had my way, it would be deleted from the computer, but I can't delete it because he also uses the fucking computer, so anyway, okay, rant ended. Yeah, no, that's the thing. There is a paper that is widely read by the Navy, and this is a Napoleonic War type setting in many ways. So Napoleonic media, you think our media was sensationalist. They tend to do it with stern tones and lots of explosions on the screen, but you didn't have explosions on the screen, so the verbose purple language in newspapers of the time period is stunning. Yeah, they might have called it the Interstellar War from the beginning when I think about that. What are we looking at here? Lorraine says, determining how difficult it should be for my werebear player to detect a sleeping potion was used in a room hours ago when I already have the main pillows missing from the bed. Siobhan points out bears have a keen sense of smell, so is there a specific scent associated with the potion? Yeah, that's a good question. I just might give it to him. Bears have amazing sense of smell. It's their big thing. Master Lawrence says, oh, but do they have a tracking or a survival score? Right? Okay, Master Lawrence says, wait, the media are attention whores? What? I know, shocker, right? Under those conditions, I'd say they'd smell something, Lorraine, but be unable to identify it specifically. Yeah, lots of advice to help me out. I'm always looking for words because they're a weird combination of Navy ships and, flying machines, right? And aircraft, so. Not my fault. Sharad Fox has to do housework. I'm sorry. Good luck. Into the breach. Lorraine says 75 words is writing down DCs for knowing about sleeping potions and then writing a note that this potion is apparently controlled substance. Huh. Husband or partner? Asked Siobhan to clarify who to blame. Husband. That is who to blame. Alright, we started another work period. Let's do it. And I think after that we'll take a slightly longer break because it'll be 2 o'clock. Hangars and landing bays. We're at something of a premium, however. So that reverses the conditions that I previously established. Hey, Author Goddess, welcome. We are just at the beginning of a 15-minute sprint, and you're welcome to join us, whatever you're working on. I am working on aggressive editing for what I'm calling Preptember. Macaro is here. Hello. Okay. Reread that sentence since I basically rewrote it. Kanathi Harbor was more relaxed than Skyreach. You almost couldn't see it from above because it was formed of enormous trees, and the Nenahi and She inhabitants lived in their branches. But since it was on an island in the middle of the Sapphire Sea, the docks were extensive. Hangars and landing bays were at something of a premium, however. That works fine. Doesn't have to be fancy. Shondar could see that the recruiting drive was working here too. Yeah, okay, good. Okay. Terry uniform. I can shorten that sentence. Always shorten a sentence and take out filter words and connector words where you can. Who doesn't love superfluous words? Well, you love them when you're writing for NaNoWriMo, which is why I have so many of them in here. But when you're editing, they need to go. I just don't like that. She returned it. It's perfectly serviceable, but I don't like it. She returned the grin. How's that? Lorraine says, I admit I unleash my inner American write wordy words in World Ember, as if she isn't from the States. hope that works. I think I can delete that whole line. See, now I know more about military procedure than I did before. So they actually are going to ask for some bona fides on this. They're not going to just take anybody's random word that they're a pilot. I'm going to want to see some documentation. And this clerk probably should be checking that now, but I hope I've already made it clear that she's a little overwhelmed. So she's kind of speeding through the process. Probably not like she should be. Alright, that's the end of that chapter, I believe. I keep thinking, I'm at the end of the chapter, I should save. But I don't have to, because it has autosave. Oh my god, autosave is like, I cannot tell you how fucking cool that is for me. Oh, I hear a dingy thing. Oh, thank you! Thanks for subscribing, Danny! Yay! Much appreciated. I think that's a resubscription. You're awesome. Thank you. All right. I really appreciate it. Tried to wait till the end of sprint, but didn't make it. That's awesome. Thank you very much. That's really cool. I appreciate your support. Yeah. All right, we're at the end of the work period here. And I think we're going to take a little bit of a longer break. So I'll go to this. Oh, wrong downtime screen. I got so many of these. Okay, there we go. I think we'll go to this for the moment. How'd you guys do? I was pretty happy. I finished the chapter, obviously, so that's really great for me. Lorraine says, I didn't do any writing this time. Decided to go ahead and get started on tomorrow's coursework. Absolutely. You want to, you know, like I said, focused work period. You spend it how you want to spend it, right? So however it best helps you. My hair is a freaking disaster today. It's all like sticking up. I don't know why. Yay. Close enough to the end of the sprint. That's fair enough. Lauren is off. He has to go make dinner for the family. See you later, Master Lauren. Thanks for joining us. And hey, you're still into writing. You can always come back. There's going to be people here till like, what, I think 2 o'clock in the morning my time. No, 1 o'clock in the morning my time. Provided, of course, that Darth, Nick, and Siobhan don't decide to split the difference between their scheduled time and extend things, which they often do. In which case, it'll be something like, what, 18, 19, 22 straight hours of writing, which is awesome. So, iCast Bolt says, hey, have you seen my world yet? Would now be a good time to redeem for the 500-point critique for your landing page? Sure. Now would be a great time. I'm going to take a bio break first, but we will do that. That's totally cool. And then we'll get back into some more sprinting. So, yeah, the 500-point critique is kind of a quick once-over. So, 192 words from Siobhan. Awesome. We'll take a quick break, and we'll be right back. Alright, we're back. Sorry it took so long. Poor little kitty required some extra TLC. It was her first ever trip to the vet today, and she got poked with needles, and she got stuff stuck up her butt, and she got pills thrust down her throat, and I don't think anything so traumatic has ever happened to her. So she's, you know, kind of sulking on my bed right now. Oh, wow, Author Goddess. Author Goddess says, sighs, interrupted with another notification that a student from my son's school tested positive for COVID-19. Yay. Yeah, I'm sorry to hear about that too, like Siobhan says. I am going to avoid the soapbox that I would get on right now, because people are freaking idiots. And okay, I will say, watch Extra History's video series. It's a 5 to 6 part series of like 10-minute videos, so it takes about an hour to watch, but watch it, right, on the 1918 pandemic, because you'll be going, oh, we've done this before, have we? And we did exactly the same stupid shit then as we did now. And why did we not learn from the stupid shit we did then? No, apparently we're going to make all the same mistakes almost in exactly the same way because people are dumb and won't read fucking history. Anyway. Okay. I'm... That's enough about politics. Oh, I know, everybody knows about it, but, like, it was eerie. Like, I knew about it. I've done research on it. I've done a lot of research on it. I've read a bunch of post-apocalyptic novels that were all about plagues, like, and apocalyptic novels that were all about plagues. I know all about it, right? I read Merida, Dragon Lady of Pern, when I was, like, 12, which is basically an analog of the 1918 pandemic. And, yeah. But we're doing exactly the same thing. It's so eerie to watch it presented. Like, I knew we were doing all the same things, but when you hear it presented by Extra History, you're like, oh my god. And the thing is, Extra History made this series of videos 2 years ago. 2 years ago, guys. So, it's not like they were making a point. Right? Won't read or won't be taught the history. That's a fact. Time is a flat circle, says I Cast Bolt. The second wave, the presidential failure, 100%. People ignoring the warnings of science, people making up pseudoscientific nonsense, confusing messages, creating disaster and misinformation, people ignoring crowded conditions and rules on public gatherings, people not wearing the masks they're told to wear, etc., etc., etc. Yeah. Yeah, didn't we? We did do that research, didn't we there, Siobhan? Because we were both playing doctor characters in Vampire the Masquerade campaign, and we kind of played through that period. But, yeah. Elena Lay says, or Lorraine Lay, Elena Lay, okay, sorry. Lorraine says, I didn't know it was 100 years ago, but read lots of pandemic-based fiction. Yeah. Alright, so iCast Bolt has redeemed a quick critique. It's the 500 point option, which means kind of a quick look over and hey, that's awesome, I like it. Oh, thank you, good idea. Hydrate. Thank you for the posture check too, Lorraine. Yeah, if I'm sitting weird today, it's because a thing in my back that's been out for like a week finally went in, and that's good, but now my right shoulder really hurts because it's readjusting. So that's my mouse hand. So I'm sitting in a way that I am closer, the right side is closer, so I have to reach less, so I have to put less strain on the muscle. Alright, iCast Bolt says, here's my landing, or welcome back, here's my landing page. Not a lot to look at right now, just the landing page and a few miscellaneous meta articles. Busy working on the world meta right now. Alright, let's have a look. There we go. Oh, I looked at this on Kahuna's stream, I think it was. Braid. Welcome to the afterlife. In death there is a void. Then was day, Thay? Oh, Thay wove a bed of red silk, the first braid. The braid reached places unintended, tethering a web of will, thought, and memory, all fates converging unto the afterlife. Afterlife, maybe. Feel free to be critical. Love it or hate it, I can take the criticism. Yeah. I would love a tooltip that explains how to pronounce this D symbol and the AE, right? Right? Whatever it is, right? I would like tooltips for pronunciation. So there's one critique, but I wouldn't want any more than that. I wouldn't want you to slow down that opening dialogue to do anything other than a tooltip, because you'll slow down your introduction, and that's never a good idea. Okay. Death is the beginning. The world of Braid explores a fresh take on an old idea: what happens when you die. Many religious ideologies subscribe to some form of spirit realm, an underworld where souls of the departed will collect following a release from their mortal coil. Although it's not necessarily true that they all believe in an underworld, right? Like, the dream time, for example, exists in the simultaneous space of the real physical world, as well, real physical world, right? So, and Celtic beliefs have like an upper world and an underworld. And underworld is where the crappy shit goes, right? And the upper world is where like the divine and the people who deserve elevation to associate with the divine get to go. So not necessarily an underworld, but good enough for the description. Just pointing out that may not necessarily be true, right? Okay, I don't know if it is in your world, which is fine, right? Because you're picking your reality. That's one of the things I've heard a lot of. Pronunciation guide will be featured at the top of the World Meta article. Okay, but I'm just talking about a tooltip, right? Where you can hover over, right? What you do is you put tooltip in a, here, just a sec, I'll show you what I'm talking about. Because I've got to have an article open somewhere. I don't actually on this page. Holy crap, okay. Alright, so I'm going to have to edit an article to show you what I mean, but okay. Why don't we edit this article? Just because I have to show you the tags list. Okay, Danny did it for me, so I don't have to show you anything. Thank you, Danny. Yeah, see, there's a format there, right, where you put tooltip, whatever you would like to see, pipe, or brackets, whatever it actually is in, right? Like a link, right? Like a URL around Braid, and then /tooltip. Yeah, and everyone can use tooltips, right? Just a quick thing so you could hover over it with the mouse and go, oh, that's how you pronounce that. Okay. Yeah, thanks, Lorraine. It's cool. We're reminding people that everyone can do that. The world of Braid explores a fresh take on an old idea: what happens when you die. Many religious ideologies subscribe to some form of spirit realm, an underworld where souls of the departed will collect following a release from their mortal coil. Within Braid's afterlife, all souls eventually funnel to the same place, conflicting faiths as different doors opening into the same room. That doesn't quite make sense. Would you say faiths conflict like different doors opening into the same room? Because I don't really understand exactly what you mean by that phrase. Yeah, that'll be a great quick change. Yeah, says Danny. Author Goddess says they, that, T, but with a softer the. That. Yeah. Fair enough. They. Neat. Conflicting faiths entering the same room through different open doors. Yeah, the. Oh, the. Alright. If that's what you intended, let us know. right? Okay. Unlike the heavenly promises of priests or the hellish threats of prophets, the afterlife is not what you may expect. There's no cloud-faring existence. Faring here, if you're talking about faring in that sense, it's like starfaring, and actually there's no, or seafaring, right? And there's no I, right? It would be just cloud dash faring, right? There's no cloud-faring existence, no fire and brimstone, no eternal suffering. Instead, souls fortunate enough to awake on the other side face an unknown and foreign place. Okay, so this is not actually something most people would critique, right? But I have a bit of a bugaboo about it, and I'm going to point it out because it's my bugaboo, right? Unlike the heavenly promise of priests or the hellish threats of prophets, which priests and which prophets, right? Because by far, not all faiths in the world believe in this idea, right? This Paradise Lost style image of the afterlife is fairly new. It is part of, a certain perspective on Christianity, even. It's not necessarily part of the other Judeo-Christian faiths, never mind being part of things like Buddhism, which is practiced by more people per, raw percentage of population than any other faith in the world, right? Or the Vedic faith, which is, again, a huge chunk of population, right? So, I realized that you're writing for kind of a Anglophone-ish Western world type audience, right? Western world. So people may make those assumptions, but you might want to add other things, right? If you're saying this is kind of the universal afterlife. Yeah, exactly. Author Goddess says in Norse, Helheim is just flippin' boring. Yes, Niflheim is depressing. Okay? That's all it is. There's no fire. Never was. It's just kind of mucky and dark and gross, and, it's depressing. Different afterlives are conceived of in different ways by different faiths, right? So you may want to name a few other major ideas of the afterlife. There is no bardo, right? There is no, I forget the name of the Jewish afterlife right now, but, just mention a couple other images of the afterlife is all I'm saying, right? Okay. And in a throwaway sentence with 2 or 3 subdirectories in it. iCastBolt says, I've tried to keep it open-ended mostly, without pointing directly at any religions. Yes, but the problem is you've made an assumption of of the Christian faith being the standard here without realizing that you have done that, and that's what I'm saying. It speaks to the language. It's why there is a movement to change everything to gender-free pronouns, right? Because what you have done here is assume everybody is male and the females are all afterthoughts. You don't mean to, but that's the culture you've been raised in, so you kind of assume that that's the standard. And I'm saying mention a couple of other standard afterlives of large populations, looking up, type into Google, right, what is the afterlife name of some of the, world religions, and name 2 or 3 of them in a throwaway sentence after that, because then you're not automatically making a Judeo-Christian or specifically Christian assumption of the standard, right? Because you haven't said it's Christian, but the description of the afterlife you're presenting is specifically and exclusively Christian. It is not part of other faiths. That's what I'm trying to tell you, right? I see what you're saying, but, I don't know if I'm making myself clear here. Yes. As other people are pointing out in the chats, right? There are different ideas of afterlives in different cultures, right? So not everybody has this point of view. It's specifically a Christian one that there are clouds and fire and brimstone, right? Niflheim is dark and cold. Their underworld, the Greek underworld, is just a place where souls went after death, right? Muspelheim is the land of fire. Jotun, right? Jotun, right? The fire giants, right? Yeah. More often, after the afterlife is a happy version of this life, right? The Egyptians believed that you sailed on into the underworld, and the underworld was kind of, you were judged on the scale of Mott, and if you were found unworthy, you were just destroyed, right? And if you were found worthy, then you got to kind of hang out in a and it had no sun, so it was always twilight, but it was a place where, you know, you never ran out of things to eat and you were happy, right? Yes, thank you. That's a good way of putting it. As Author Goddess said, the error here is the assumption of what is neutral, right? Okay. Yeah, eaten by a gator. Yes, that's what happens. Your heart is weighed against a feather on the scales of Mott in the Egyptian belief, or Kemetic belief, as they actually call themselves, right? And if your heart was not lighter or the same weight as the feather, then an alligator, gigantic alligator, ate it. And then you were just destroyed. So, yeah. Different faiths have different points of view. What is the after? Full of vigor, the afterlife proliferates with flora of bizarre shape. An excellent picture, by the way, and I love the aurora borealis kind of looking glowing landscape there. That's amazing. Yeah, thank you. I'll have to see about including other allegories for alternative faiths. I'll help you out with that in just a second here. Right? You don't necessarily have to have the allegories themselves, just reference them, right? Or if actually, I see what you're saying, you don't want to mention anybody's afterlife by name at all, right? There's no, I don't know, I'll continue on with this. I know I have other people like Author Goddess and Siobhan in the chat, and I imagine Lorraine, she's pretty good at this, and Barbarossa knows some things about history, and I'm pretty sure that Danny is not unfamiliar either. So if you guys can think of allegories, descriptions, without mentioning the names of some of these different afterlives that could be put in brief little phrases like that for Cast Bolt, then, you know, throw it in there, and then maybe you can help them out. So, and thank you if you're willing to help me out with that. Okay. Full of vigor, the afterlife proliferates with flora of bizarre shape, while bestial spirits of benign and equally aggressive temperaments roam the landscape. Often locked in violent conflict, these creatures compete to secure a substance commonly known as ether, or aether, the literal lifeblood of existence, or ather, perhaps. Right? More than a petty squabble for resources, any spirit lacking access to Ather, I'll say Ather because it's all and every other thing, right, is in danger of vanquishing into nothingness. Makes sense. The largest of these spiritual beasts stalking the lands, predators hunting for prey, desperately searching for the next infusion. I would say instead of stalking here, I think stalk is probably the tense you want. The largest of these spiritual beasts stalk the lands, predators hunting for prey, desperately searching, and you're missing an E in desperately, I just noticed, between the T and the L, right? It's at the end of the word, right? Desperately searching for the next infusion. In a cooperative bid for survival, less imposing souls will gather into small groups or tribes. And tribes. These collectives are bound together by their communal braid, an unseen thread of fate, or many factions of spirits have successfully carved a niche within the afterlife, often growing beyond the scope of quiet survival. The most successful of these groups have managed to recreate a semblance of society, if only as a shadow of the civilization their souls left behind. Fated threads. Everything and everyone is connected. Nothing truly exists in a vacuum. You want a semicolon there, not a comma. Right? Because these are two entirely separate phrases, and to connect them, Yeah, it's the semicolon you want. The braid is a physical construct for this metaphorical implication. While invisible to most, those deeply tuned to the harmony of the braid will be presented with occasional glimpses of its manifestation. Rarely it appears as a red thread, and that's cool because that comes from a couple of different mythologies. Speaking of the Tapestry of Fate, right, it's often described as red. Rarely it appears as a red thread, weaving a web of souls, fates, and the world itself together. Even while veiled from sight, many spirits of the after have learned to utilize it as a lifeline, voluntarily exchanging aether along it. Souls who have shown an incredibly strong mastery of will are capable of influencing the braid further, often to a dramatic and explosive effect. So this sounds a little bit in its system like how the Wraith, the Oblivion setting works in White Wolf role-playing games. And I like that. I think that's cool, except that it sounds like your afterlife is a lot less depressing, which is awesome. That's great. Yeah. I like the concept in Wraith, but I could never play it because it was just too freaking depressing. Yeah. In finding clever ways to shape and manipulate the very nature of the braid, communities of the after have jointly forged an unorthodox existence. In provoking its power, they fought back a tide of ravenous spirits. Perhaps is invoking the word you're looking for there rather than provoking? Provoking basically is to start a fight. Invoking is to conjure or call forth. So I don't know. I'm not sure yet. Um, yeah, in establishing a foothold uh, in the realm, perhaps is rather than of the realm. They built prolific cities of cultural significance, discovered new and creative means to apply the braid, and unlocked the incredible potential of its contrivances. It's an unusual choice of word, but there's nothing wrong with it. By securing a place within the afterlife, death is not always the end, but a journey of your own making. Okay, now I'll tell you, I love the concept. I absolutely think this is freaking cool. Oh, I have not followed you yet? Well, I'm going to fix that because I like your concept a lot. Right? Um, I love the brightness of this page, and your CSS is really impressive, actually. Right? Just because you kind of end up imposing what you want on it. My only critique would be that if you're trying to create an aura of mystery, this very bright white may not be doing that. But on the other hand, I don't know if I'd want to mess with it, even so, because you've got, this beautiful red thread in the background, and you're like, what's this about? Right? And you explain the purpose of the red thread later on. And this picture kind of makes up for the, very stark brightness of the theme with that that's clearly, that picture is nothing but mystery. It's like, oh, what is that? Where is this? What's going on there? Oh, wow, that's a very interesting looking place. Why is the sea glowing? So it's pretty great. Yeah, I love your concept. I think that this is really neat, and my only major critique is the one I already said. So good work. All right. So, um, fields are really common, says Author Goddess. Yeah, the Elysian Fields, the Happy Hunting Grounds, whatever. Yeah, rivers and rainbows as the border. Yeah, the Rainbow Bridge, right, for example, or, people walking through a rainbow ending up in another world, or a giant party where food and drink flow freely. But on the other hand, I wouldn't include that one, right? Because there are probably places in the after where people do have giant parties. Like, that's what they do. They get together and they have giant parties until there's a threat that faces them, and then they go deal with it, right? So I wouldn't include that in a, it's not like that, because there are places where it is, probably, right? The truly ideal Norse afterlife is farming and board games. Yep. Fact. Yep. This Valhalla stuff, that was for like particular warriors. And I'm not sure that that's such a reward because you get killed every day, right? Who the hell wants to get killed every day? Okay. Yeah. Lorraine has some suggestions about a much more generic way overall to say there are neither heavenly promises nor hellish threats, sweet idealized promises and destructive condemnation. Actually, I might just say, there are neither heavenly promises nor hellish threats. It's the fire and brimstone and the cloud poofiness thing that are specifically Christian, right? So, and a sort of a modern Christianity idea too, actually, right? Yeah, the fire and brimstone thing comes from Revelations, and the idea that you burn in hell, right? But the cloud heaven thing, that's like, we have Milton to thank for that, by the way. So that's how recent that is. Only a few hundred years. Yeah. Yeah, there's also reincarnation where the soul waits in limbo until they're born, or reborn, says Siobhan. I live the hell from when dreams may come. Aww. iCastBolt says, no depressing. I want to fill people with hope, not sadness. I like your afterlife idea. I think that sounds like a pretty great place, actually. Yeah. Oh, I love the hell from What Dreams May Come. Really, I like the afterlife from that movie as a whole. Side eyes autocorrect, says Author Goddess. Yeah, iCastBolt says, awesome, thank you for your critique and collective insight. Well, you're welcome. Right? When I finish wrestling with this meta page, I'll return and rethink that first paragraph. Fair enough. Yeah. Author Goddess says, Valhalla is a concession prize for those who died far from their family and homeland. Makes sense. Yeah. And she would know better than me. She knows far more about that. By the way, if you don't know, Author Goddess is Sarah Berman, the author of the Rune Spells series, which is kind of like the Dresden Files meets American Gods, and it's fucking cool, and I recommend it to everybody. She's working on book 4, or gotta be pretty ready to get that going soon, I imagine. So I'm like, when is it coming out? So... yeah, Lorraine says Fire and Brimstone was also very new. There's classical art where hell was a cold place, far from God's warmth and love. Yeah, exactly. And actually, cold as an afterlife thing is far more ancient and far more common, right? Or, well, it depends, right? I mean, whatever the shittiest climate was, wherever in the world you were, that is what they visualized you're getting punished for your deeds in life afterlife, right? Like, the Tigris and Euphrates area, they, sent you to the desert, right? And exiled the spirits that were negative to the desert and stuff like that. So, yeah. Yes, meta article is cool. Author Goddess hides. Nonsense. Read her books. You'll thank me. Okay. Well, we have 10 minutes to the hour here, roughly 13 minutes to the hour. I think what I might do is, because apparently today appears to be an I need to pee day, we're going to do our break now, and then I am going to start right in with the sprinting and stuff when we're done. Right? Okay, now one thing I will show you quickly first, right, is part of what I'm doing. That's not what I was looking at, but okay, so while I'm doing this work for Preptember, because, I apparently need like 2 months to prepare. Right, there we go. I am currently in the process of creating a master timeline for the novels, which I would rather watch paint dry. I think it is so boring, but it really is necessary, and the tools on World Anvil to do it are really excellent, right? Especially because recently it was also added, okay, so you can copy a link to just part of a manuscript, right? And you can and you can associate that with different articles. So this is the timeline of the novels here, right? And I'll just show you what it looks like in presentation so far, because it's entirely personal events of the book so far. Right now, you can look at this if you have, this is like a secrets and hidden information stuff, so this is kind of a sneak peek at the beginning, right? For patrons of $10 or $25, right? Or you can actually say, if you've read the entirety of the first novel, you're welcome to look at this timeline. When I'm done the first book, I will make it so you have to, declare that you've read the second book before you can look at this timeline. And then if you want to have spoilers for yourself, that's your business, right? I don't care. Go for it. But, this is just the, first couple of events. But the thing is, here's a link. And I've got the timeline and the dates of each scene that I've written. I can go right to that scene, and I know right away when it happened. This is the month in the Avalonian and day in the Avalonian calendar, which is the main calendar of my books. And this is the date which I added myself as that's the Fomorian calendar. Shout out to Artie, creator of the Hummelverse, for creating the date converter for me so that I can convert one calendar date to another between the two calendars, because otherwise that would be hell. Right, so I'm creating this so that I can just quickly reference everything that I might require. And I'm really just, I'm excited about what this is going to look like when it's done. I am not excited about doing it because it is tedious. But it's going to be awesome when it is done. Yeah. Siobhan says she should find something to eat. Not really hungry since your stomach's in knots. Yes, go eat. You'll probably feel better if you do eat. Right? Yeah, we're at 10 minutes to 3. Now that I've shown you guys that, I'm going to take a break. And when I come back, we're going to start right in on another hour of sprints and work before I pass you off to Black Megan. And we are back. Sorry about that, guys. Welcome, Kahuna! Aloha! Good to see you. Thank you for the raid. Awesome. I hope your stream went well today and that Kahuna Quiet was pleasant and happy. I'm gonna try out something I've been meaning to try out, if that's okay with you guys. Right? I've got this thing on my stream manager that says run 30-second ad break. I want to see if I can get the World Anvil ad to run on that, so don't have a heart attack when things go wah. Right? If I can figure that out, then, you know, I'll probably do that when I start the World Forge stream in particular, at least. So I'm gonna try it and see how that works. Huh, nope, that doesn't work. Okay. That's hilarious. I'm not seeing anything. I think I have to set it up as its own, like, doodad, I guess. So, I'll set that up for next time. That'll be fine. And then I'll just switch over. Okay. So we're gonna get some more work done. Unless anybody has any immediate questions, comments, or thoughts, but I would rather... I think it's time to do some work. I got more done already today than I typically do in a stream because I have already spent less time chatting, even though we basically spent an hour talking. So I guess this is gonna work out. I shouldn't spend quite so long on the critiques, but that's okay. That's alright. Besides, it's no fun if we don't get to talk at all, right? Alright. So I'm on the right page? I'm on the right page. So ready, steady, and we're off. Oh dear. Ear infection, Makaro? That sucks. I've had those. Makaro says carefully goes downstairs to get eardrops, hoping not to slip off the stairs again. If I'm not back in 5 minutes, I'm either dead or waiting for an ambulance. Duly noted. Take care, okay? Take her slow. Make sure you grab onto the wall or the railing. Still alive. Glad to hear it, Makaro. Rain plays Portal 2's end credits still alive. It has arrived. Shh. Welcome. It's okay. You're probably getting stuff ready, right? Glad to see you. We're, I don't know, about halfway through a sprint? Yep. Preparing for your stream all day. Don't blame you. I am eager to pass this off to you in an hour. I am so ready. I don't know if you're gonna continue. Are you planning on streaming regularly on Wednesdays, Megan? Because that would be really awesome. Then we could have like writing Wednesdays and have like 13 to 16 hours of straight writing, like Wednesday into Thursday would be awesome. I don't know if you can though, right? But today, that's what we're doing. It's so cool. I'm sorry to hear food isn't agreeing with you, Siobhan. And I think that's hilarious, Makaro. My co-worker makes fun of me for being the most injured person at this work at home situation. You're writing every Wednesday? Fucking A. Alright, this is gonna be great. Cool. I can't wait. I'm gonna be joining your stream too, of course. Yeah. Oh, I hear dingy things. What is happening? Dillian has raided with a party of 2. Welcome, Dillian! Welcome, Dillianites! Were you drawing pleasant lines or happy little trees today? Hi, AJ. Good to see you. Yay! Thank you for the raid. We have about 2 minutes left in our work sprint here. I'm doing well. How are you, AJ? AJ says, hey, oh, how are we doing today? Dillian says, I've been streaming for nearly 10 hours today, so my raiding party took a few casualties and is now small. Sounds like you had an epic battle. 10 hours? I noticed you were up for a long time. I didn't realize it was 10 hours. Holy shit, you're amazing. I did like 7.5 hours on Sunday, and my eyes hurt. So, good for you. Just figured you were working on stuff anyway, so you might as well stream. That's pretty great. 2 hours of mapping and a bunch of gaming. That's cool. Right on. Oh, I didn't name this scene, did I? No, I'm a fool. Okay. So, it's just scene 1. Alright, that's the end of that. I'm just gonna paste my thingy in here before I quit, because otherwise I will forget what I was doing. And that is never a good thing. There we go. Scene 2. Make sure to keystroke it so it auto-saves. So if it doesn't know you stroked it, it doesn't give you any love. Okay. That's what Dimitri said when I was like, is that intended? Funny. Alright. Yeah. Black Maggot expressing sympathy for Siobhan, who's having a bad guts day. I have been there more times than I'll care to count, and I don't like it. Black Maggot accidentally ate chicken a few days ago, which was not a good plan. Sorry to hear that. The alien did a bunch of gaming after 2 hours of mapping, which is cool. He's been playing Crusader Kings. They lost Triss, Hefe, and Laura because they had to stream. Black Maggot says he may or may not show his face today. Interesting. Mysterious. Want to see what the mysterious Black Maggot looks like? You might want to tune in today. Okay, Dillian says, you also reached 100 followers. That's great. And someone suggested that you should do a 24-hour stream to celebrate the milestone. I haven't agreed to anything yet, but it's tempting. No kidding. That is kind of cool. You know, hey, you need company keepers, let me know. Because that would be fun. Black Maggot will not be storing the video if he shows his face, though. Fair enough. Chrysalia, RPG, Bob, and Moon all disappeared. Yep. Nope, 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 nope. No VOD. Just a live thing. I mean, as characters in games. Oh yeah, that's cool. They were playing too. Dealing, I was watching you play that the other day, and that looked like hella fun. I think the whole customizable character stuff's pretty neat. I would like to know, are there female protagonists that you can play? Do they have similar options in terms of like hairstyles and complexions and whatever? Well, like, I mean, complexions, I guess, would depend on which nation they were playing, right? Yes, women get things as well. That's cool. Sounds like fun, because they had like the beard action going on, and he was going through all the different beards they had, and I thought that's pretty neat, actually. So, but I'm curious if there's like hairstyles or tiaras or something, you know. I'm gonna be like the Dragon Queen. I don't know. It's a more historical game, so probably not, but I might do like I don't know. I'd probably never play this game, but I like watching people play the game. Those kind of games are fun. The fact is, I probably won't ever play because I spend so much time writing and world building and playing RPGs, but realistically, I don't have time to play video games. I like them though. I think a lot of the best writing that's going on right now in terms of speculative fiction in particular is happening in video games, really. So how did you guys do, by the way? Those of you who are doing the sprint or work period, I didn't even ask, so I don't know. Siobhan wants to know if there are fancy gowns for the women in Crusader Kings, and AJ wants to says I still got to work on my races for my world for the game. Well, you're starting to get down to the wire a bit there, I think. 362 words from Author Goddess. That is freaking impressive. Good for you. That is great. That is awesome. Black Maggot's been working on the Aeon timeline. Excellent. I was working on a timeline earlier too. It's part of my, I'm going to call it Preptember. Preptember. That's what we're doing. AJ says, well, my campaign won't be happening till next year. Oh, okay. Oh, we got 10 seconds. 2 out of 8 tasks for Kamara completed today, says Lorraine. You're ahead of the game. Excellent. And Black Maggot says, it's annoying as hell, but I want to memorize it. I was complaining about the same thing. I would rather watch paint dry, but I need to have it. And it's going to be amazing when I get it done. Okay, I'm getting back to work because my timer's running. Siobhan is lurking. Fair enough. And that is perfectly fine. I don't need this phrase. there. Hello, Dazzlecat. Nice to see you. I'm glad your lawn has been tamed. We're about halfway through a work period or sprint, as you prefer. I am editing today. Editing overheats brain cells. Not wrong. You're off, Black Maggot. You're getting ready. Fair enough. We'll see you in about half an hour. Or is Black Maggot just waving hi because you're already ready? So either way, I'm saying hi to Daz. Okay, cool. Okay. That's the end of that chapter. Yes, Black Maggot is going to be streaming immediately following us, so I will be rating him. He's going to be on for 3 hours. He says he's not sure what he's going to do. Well, we'll find out. Wait a minute, what happened here? Oh wait, no, that's next. Okay. Yes. And then when you're done there, Maggot, Writer Greg will be on. I've been telling everybody 13 straight hours of writing streams, possibly as much as 16 today from ASC folks. Anvil Light Writers. I'm like, and if you're streaming every Wednesday, this is going to be a thing. And I think that's amazing. I'm like rescheduling everything. Wednesday is going to be like serious writing day. It's going to be great. That's not what I'm after. There we go. Alright, that's the end of our sprint period here. We're on a 5-minute break now, guys. I'll go back to the chat and see what people missed. How did you do? If you were working. Ah, okay. AJ says, on my list of things to do before the end of the year, brief details on the deities, work on a few holidays, a reskin of D&D common races, names on cities and towns once the world map is completed, and then think of plots and quests for the players. Awesome. The lawn has been tamed, says Dazzlecat. Welcome. I'm glad your lawn has been tamed. Yes, we went over that. That's right. Black Maggot says that he's going to try to do writing and editing mostly. Hopefully chatting too. Danny says her lawn has been tamed too. That's cool. Author Goddess says, still trying to decide on a streaming schedule. I like the sprint chat format though. I like it too. I think it's fun because then, we get things done and we work together and we have fun, but we also get to chat about things because, I couldn't be on this long hanging out with people if I weren't talking. Let's just be honest here. Danny says, then we put up one of our political support signs for a local county council and then realized we better make sure to pick up our other signs ASAP so the neighbors don't give us the side eye. Yeah, what campaign are we on? I don't know, but you Americans, right? You're always in an election. You're insane. Yeah. Black Megan wants to know where we get the counters from. Though that was designed by Darth Nicholas. And if you want that one, I will be happy to share it with you because he's been sharing it around. He's making me a couple of custom ones. He had to take a break yesterday, though, so I will have to show that to you perhaps on Sunday's stream. But yeah, there's one for the World Forge that he's making, and there's one for Diane Writes today. And they're designed to kind of match the branding, and they're going to have dragon roars as the alarms, just FYI here. So, yeah, I'll be happy to share that one with you in particular if you like. The only drawback to it is that you have to keep this screen up. It will not run if you do not have it on this screen because it resets when it's not visible. Right? At least on the version that I am using, if you're using Streamlabs or something, or OBS, or even Stream Elements, it may work differently for you. I would talk to him in particular. So, Author Goddess did 219 words. Outstanding. Excellent. Danny says, I don't know, I don't stream, I'm a pro, or Dazzlecat says, I don't know, I don't stream, I'm a pro watcher. But she needs to start restart the Twitch app. Yep. Twitch is twitchy. Danny says, yeah, it's all the local and state and federal for us all at the same time. Well, no wonder you can't remember who the hell you're electing. It's all on name recognition. You guys don't have time to remember anything else. Danny says, but Hubs is super unhappy about having a red sign on the yard without our blue ones. Legit. I can see why that would be a concern at the moment. Siobhan says, we should remove the red sign since you do not support them, but hold on. No. It's just that the local council person is using red as the council person they're supporting uses red on their sign. I don't think they're like a Republican or whatever necessarily, but they use red on the sign or something. Yeah, it's a friend of ours. Yeah, it's a local county council. Yeah, no, it's Siobhan. I was reading the statements from and answering because yeah, I figured. I mean, it's local politics do things differently, right? It's not necessarily all like Republican Democrat right down the line or like that for local politics. Like here, right? Local politics are a bit different than the provincial or federal politics, which are also completely different, right? So, we have 14 seconds counting down to our next sprint. There's our 10-second warning. And we're back to work. No, I don't need to do that. Arrived. new uniforms and rank insignias from the tailor because they have to make their own. They're officers. New uniforms and rank insignias from the tailor arrived the next day. Chandar wondered who had ordered them. All right, see you in a minute, Danny. I know there's a slang term for dress uniform. Blue buddies. I don't know if I want to use that. That's the U.S. military. Everything always defaults to fucking U.S. Okay, British military slang for dress uniforms. Greens or blues? Yeah, that's logical. Lorraine, good thinking. Why don't I find dress uniform? Do you have such a thing? Oh, Jesus Christ, go away. Okay, clearly you are going to be an absolutely useless website and you may go to hell. I think you're right, by the way, Lorraine. I'm just trying to confirm it. Parade uniform? That could be it. Regimentals? That might be it too. Ah! Fine, I'll pick something. Because clearly the internet does not want me to know today. By the way, Google. The default is not American. Okay, thank you. I do not believe what a pain in the ass this is. I mean, look at this, right? We're here, we're doing the Royal Navy, we're doing the British Navy. Right here, it's like the fifth one down. Glossary of U.S. Navy slang. Okay, if I wanted U.S. Navy, I would have said that specifically, fuckhead. Go away. Ah! Okay, sorry. Oh, Jack Speak of the Royal Canadian Navy. That could be cool. Oh, it makes me insane. It's just... I think I'll call it ceremonials. That makes sense. Thanks for the suggestions, guys. There's some really good ones in there, too. I was looking for something that was nice. There. Yeah, you Americans, you keep saying that until the Canadian invasion starts. Oh, it just drives me insane, you know? Just... yeah. Isn't Google's HQ in the US? Yes, it is. Absolutely, AJ. And the UN's HQ is, last I checked, in what? The Hague? Right? So, should the UN force everyone to speak, you know, like, come on, if you're going to try to represent the world, I don't care if you're a company or not, represent the world. Get it together. And if corporations are going to replace our governments, then they need to, like, be better at it than that, too. Oh, and if Google doesn't want to do that, then it can create a secondary company here, right, and call it Google Canada, right? And then our web browsers can go to Google Canada, and Canada can be the default. Okay? All right, see you soon, Black Maggot. We'll be there in a few. Sorry about my rant, but it's so frustrating, you know? I mean, I'm grateful Google exists, but like, it's beginning to become an indoctrination program, and it's frustrating me like hell. It's beginning to become so hard to find anything, any information that is not based in the United States if you speak English. You know, I might learn French just so that I can look for things that aren't American on the internet. Like, better than I do. Good night, Macaro. I have minute 30 left in the sprint, so I will wait until the end of the minute 30 to go on my rant about Canada being annexed by the United States. You guys are hilarious, by the way. Thank you, cheered me right up. I was genuinely annoyed. You guys are funny. Confessed. I have an answer for you, Lorraine. The province that will be State 51 will be Alberta. I'll tell you why in a few minutes. Okay, I'll tell you why now. Oh, how'd you guys do? I didn't do nearly as well as I wanted to, obviously, because I was busy looking for the results. I'm going to turn this page off here for a minute because basically we'll be off as soon as Black Megan is up at this point. But, alright, so. Okay, there's so many good comments, I gotta come back. You guys had some great suggestions for what I should be using. Right, for description, like slang term for the dress uniform. Yeah, and they do have, yeah, the slang term does tend to depend on their color often, Lorraine, you're quite right. Yeah, red coats. Well, hey, the Marines are the red coats here, right? Dress blacks, camos, greens, blues, grays. Yeah, the dress navy is I think it's white in this navy, but I could have just said Navy's whites, I suppose, and everybody will immediately know. But not necessarily, because the problem there why I was avoiding colors is because different, like, I don't know if I've established that yet in the novel, and I don't want to get people confused depending on what armed forces they're from, what navies they're from. So, yeah, it's based on color or acronyms. Banana, yellow, turquoise, and Antarctica purple, says Danny. And AJ's still serving, so he would know. Yep, absolutely. Yeah, probably they would call it whites typically in this case, because I believe they're navy, they're like the dress uniforms are white with like mithril buttons and spiffy things, right? But parade uniform, also accurate, yes. Killit is fed, that's good, Danny. It's pinks and greens for World War II, says AJ. ACU, Army Combat Uniform, or ASU, Army Service Uniform. Yeah. Black Megan was probably laughing at me going off. Yeah, Lorraine says, pretty sure the default is American. Like, there's only America, obviously. The US map is completely surrounded by water. Clearly. Danny agrees. Don't know. She has no idea what I'm on about. Yeah, Lorraine says Alaska is floating out by Hawaii and smaller than Texas. Author Goddess says could also go with pomp, as in pomp and circumstance. That's a good one. I'll think about that one. That might be a good one to include in my fictional navy. Lorraine says, don't you know, Danny, Sable doesn't exist. She's a mass hallucination, or secretly in the Seattle area. Yeah, that's it. Probably more like the Slocan area, I think, because isn't that where the, like, yeah, or Oroville, perhaps? That would be the closest U.S. place to me, I think. There. Yeah, that sounds like too much work, says AJ. Yeah. Danny says, you know that's what they do, Sable. I do know. Yeah, call it search, eh? That's right. Lorraine says, it's all to prep Canada for the inevitable annexation into the U.S. Goes to the Fallout timeline. Goes to every American-written science fiction novel or movie that talks about a fictional future from about 1930 to the present day. Name one. They all just assume that Canada is either going to join their universal government, which is America, raw America, it's just Americans, right? Or they have the North American Union, right? Or they assume that the US annexed Canada, right? And by the way, I'm currently playing a home, just the people who live here, space opera game, right? Which is basically the concept is Canadians in space, because I got tired of every game system trying to make you play Americans in space or Brits in space if you wanted to speak English, and they may all go right to hell, right? So, okay, the reason why it's going to be Alberta, that's the 51st state, right, is because those Wexit assholes, if they get their way, there's this, Brexit, right? Well, then there's these guys that are calling it Wexit, right? And basically they're a bunch of neocons in Alberta, and they're all like, Alberta would be better off on its own because we pay for everybody else and they never pay for us, which is nonsense. They pay their taxes like everybody else. If they make more money, they pay more taxes. That's how taxes work. Right? And they're all like, if we just went off to ourselves and, just take the whole, the West should be its own thing, if Quebec is a distinct society, then the West is a distinct society. And first of all, that completely misunderstands both the history and the political structure of our country in entirety, right? And secondly, no, you're not. And third, screw you, because British Columbia is the West, assholes, and we're not going, okay? So what'll end up happening if they get their way is they'll say, okay, we declare ourselves independent, right? They're already challenging, like they're doing little constitutional challenges to try to jockey for position against the federal government. You know how it is. State governments and federal governments, they clash. It happens here too, right? The federal government and the provincial governments clash, right? So they're doing all this, penis measuring basically. And so then what's going to happen if they actually split off is that immediately the United States is going to go, oh, look at all that, potential oil, and look, we'll have a straight route right up to Alaska, and they'll just move in troops. I would too. Like, why wouldn't you? That would be stupid not to do. Plus, all these, Wexit types probably want that in the first place. They're all like, oh, we're not big and cool enough. They think, well, they want to be Texas when they grow up, right? So, of course, the United States would move in troops, right? So, there's your 51st state, right? Or 52nd state or whatever it is, right? But, that's never going to happen, because even if they did manage to create, what they don't know is if they did manage to create a separate political unit, the Canadian government tends to be pretty patient until you've pushed them too far, and then they don't screw around and they just slap down. Like, they don't screw around. Justin Trudeau is his father's son, and if that happened during his administration, what he would immediately do is occupy Alberta, right? There would be Canadian troops in Alberta, and they would be an occupying army, and the reason why they would do that is because if they didn't, the states would come in and take us over, and then we don't have a country anymore. So, and they're too dumb to realize that, so, Alright, there's my rant. Author Goddess got 116 words. Excellent. You're more productive than me. Danny said, did really well being a distraction. My Canadian pride gets touched and, things go off, right? Lorraine says, true, I mean, Washington can just go up the latitude line of 54 degrees, 40 minutes, old classic 54-40 or fight. Yeah, likely the other side of the border, our Okanagan side. Danny says, America, universal government would scare me so much. Oh my god, but Danny, don't you know we're about halfway there, right? Because there's no real actual governments in the world anymore. The world is owned by Amazon and Google and Bayer and Elon Musk and all these international corporations that just do whatever they want and ignore the summons of the law when they're directed, Facebook, right? When they're directed to appear before courts of law, they just say, nah, we can't be bothered, and they don't show up, and nobody does anything about it, right? So it's all, and because they're all based in the United States, it's already the universal American government, unless you want to be in other, horrible regimes like China or Russia. So then, they're going to fight over the pieces here pretty quick unless, our lawmakers actually, grow a pair and do something about these corporations. Sorry, just that's reality. It is the cyberpunk dystopia we warned you about. Okay, can we have Canada annex the US? I'd like some environmental laws, please, says Danny. Oh, if only. But actually, that would be a bad thing when I think about it, even because honestly, Canada was formed and its entire identity is based on the fact that it is not the United States. That's why it exists. So I imagine we'd probably be a horrible occupying force that you really wouldn't want around. We tend to be turned into assholes when we're in limited situations. Like in war, we tend to be like, they used to, like, in World War I, they had British officers supervising the Canadians because we would just go apeshit if we were left to our own devices, right? And, you've seen us at hockey games, right? We have to be polite all the time, so when we're allowed to not be polite, we get a little crazy, so it's probably a bad idea. Yeah. AJ says, can we just agree that the bigger threat is the Reapers out in space who haven't attacked us yet? I know, right? It totally is the bigger threat. Okay, in all seriousness, actually, we need to have a better plan in case some militant alien shows up. Just saying. Okay, but yeah, totally. The Reapers are the bigger threat. Lorraine says, kind of contemplating a post during during apocalyptic setting where Canada just annexes the northern states to the west of the Great Lakes and Washington becomes a part of BC. I could see that. I could potentially see that happening. I could see the Pacific Northwest kind of going, you know, or you know, Vermont, like if things got bad enough in the States, them going, yeah, screw you, we're out, right? I mean, it would have to get pretty bad though, right? Because most Americans are very proudly American, and hey, that's fair. I'm very proudly Canadian, and that's cool, right? But, yeah, you know, but I could see it, depending. Author Goddess says, I'm a leaf on the wind, snorts. Dazzler Cat says 52 after Puerto Rico. Oh, but you see, Daz, I don't see Puerto Rico becoming a state in that scenario because, you see, they like the how do I put this? The corrupt people who are running things in a world where the United States annexes Alberta, right? They have no interest in actually giving Puerto Rico the rights of the state. They like them to be a repressed underclass so that they can continue to violate financial laws by operating through Puerto Rico, right? So, not in that future. It should be, and if I were in Puerto Rico, I would be jockeying for either make us a state or fuck you, this shit, we're out, right? But, you know, I'm such a cynic. I'm so sorry. I really am. Yeah. Lorraine says, we don't need to worry about the Reapers. They'll just attack Vancouver, BC first, since that's where Commander Shepard was. True story. If there is such a thing as Reapers out there, you know, which, you know, I doubt, but if they saw... Can you imagine if they saw, like, you know, Mass Effect, and they were like, hey, you know, I mean, that's been a science fiction story a lot. That's an old trope. What if they took one of these science fiction media productions as real? Yeah, sure they would. Author Goddess says, the U.S. is holding on by a frickin' thread. Post-apocalypse would crash us. Probably. It's true. I don't know if people realize that, but I've done enough history study to know that you really got to hold your democracy together right now, guys, because if you don't, it's going to fail. And the reason why I know that is because history has all kinds of patterns just like this. Just saying. Corporation are buying government puppets. That's true. I agree with you, Des. Danny says, I know, Sable, we're headed towards the corporate Congress in the series continuum. Absolutely true. Author Goddess says, and you're dragging us with you, right? We're coming along with you. We're no better here. The only thing that keeps us at all separated from that is the fact that, like, we have 3 parties instead of 2. We're 4 parties, really, that have real pull. But, it's not going to matter because all Canadian industry is owned by American billionaires anyway, so we just do what the corporate overlords tell us to. Yeah. It's unsustainable, though, says Author Goddess. It will self-implode. Yes, it will. It will, because sooner or later people will get tired of, you know, people will not be able to survive in the basic conditions. We're pretty close to that, as it is, and when that happens, they have nothing to lose, and they will burn everything the fuck down. Give them stuff, you know, stop repressing them as part of the conditions, and then that won't happen. But the French aristocracy figured they could get away with that, and I think these guys do too. They're wrong. Vicious says Siobhan, yes. Okay. I better finish this up because we're already 10 minutes over. Dazzle Cat might even get back by the time we're done. Okay, from her dog taking a bio break. Danny says, which I thought when I watched it was brilliant because that inevitable end I could see happen, but right now we're in it and it's less brilliant when it's not fiction. Fact. Just remember, Marx was right, guys. Marx was right. The only thing is he didn't anticipate the digital revolution, right? So people can made up intangible goods and, sold them, but ultimately, yeah, end stage capitalism. Far more right than we thought. Well, correct. Wayne says, let's see, my post-apocalyptic idea would likely be Canada annexing the northern border states just because those states begged and admitted the great American experiment failed. We'll go back to a crown. Okay, you know what the thing is? You have a point about that. Okay? The cool thing about a crown is that what it is the power to say no, which you can't ever use unless it's really necessary. So the Queen and her representatives hold on to a lot of powers that nobody should have, right? And they can't use them because the politics of the nation are such that the proclamations of royalty controlling our government would be taken badly. So nobody gets the right to just sign executive orders to, do whatever the fuck they want, right? You can't do that in Canada, right? The Prime Minister is not the commander of the armed forces. Her Majesty is, right? So it's a great way to deprive people of power that should not be used. And it's a wonderful check and balance it has turned out to be. And I think that I think it's good for that reason. If you guys had something like that, like if you had like a peace leader and a war leader, do it like the Romans, maybe that would work. You don't have to have a crown, but yeah. Hi, Esau. How are you? Coming to my political rant at the end of the thing. Okay, how much more of this is there? Not much. All right. Author Goddess says the Pacific Northwest is just waiting for an opportunity to piece the fuck out. Maybe. I don't think so. They're very proudly American, right? Because they still hold on to the American ideal, like what America wanted to be, right? So, maybe. But Lorraine says, I mean, we did have a war where a large part was about succession from the Union, though that was because they wanted to keep their economy-based slaves. Yeah. Most wars are actually about economics. I know, I'm cynical. Prove me wrong. Okay. We're stalling out to raid black. I know, that's why I'm trying to hurry up. If there are Reapers, points to white nationalists attacking protesters. Author Goddess, you have a point there. Those don't look like giant space ticks, says Lorraine, and Reapers just want to assimilate us so they can replicate. See? See? That's how you know I'm a witch. I just mentioned Daz, and she reappeared. Okay. Peace leader and war leader. Haven't heard of that before. Sounds interesting. Author Goddess says, taken badly. Yeah, we have stuff we thought would never happen because it would be mind-boggling. Hey, Aegon, you came here just at the end of the stream. Actually, we're about to go and raid Black Maggot. I'm going to make sure that I have the address correctly. Sorry if you hear noise in the background here. I'm going to try to make sure you don't. And I'm sorry if my frames go, I can't fucking. Okay, I do have the name correct. I was just making sure there wasn't something like the Black Maggot in there. So we're about to go raid Black, and I'm sorry we took so long. Thanks, guys, for, hanging out with me and listening to my political rant and having a little fun with me. I like laughing at the darkness sometimes, and I think that's kind of what we've done here at the end of this stream. I hope you guys got lots of work done. And yeah, politics is fun, says Author Goddess. Yeah, as long as you, don't allow it to get into really great or really deep arguments, but yeah. Well, I don't know. I suppose that can be fun too, depending, but... Siobhan says others started it just to get you ranting. That's probably true. You guys probably know me well enough now. Lorraine is 1/4 of the way through her to-do list for tomorrow, so that's great. Glad for the chance to see everyone, says E-Song, and, you know, hi Aegon, E-Song. Sorry, we're, like, you know, just at the end. Thanks for the stream, says Danny. You're welcome. I hope you had fun. Politics is fun with the right people and the right attitude, or the left attitude, says E-Song. I like what you have to say there. Right, Lorraine says, oh, and then I scared a player by asking what his PC's rant was. Huh. Will Wheaton, the Will Rule. Don't be a dick. Strangely enough, my partner, years before that, in our local pagan community, it was known as the Jamie Rule. And the Jamie Rule was the only rule of, like, some of the gatherings that people were doing. And the rule is, don't be an asshole. Assholes get kicked out. So, alright, we're rating Black Maggot. Don't forget that the raid shout is, prepare to be boarded because we are the Sable's privateers. I hope you've had a good time. That's a band name on our stream. Has the God of Eyes. Yeah, fair enough. Alright. So, yeah. I hope you have fun with the rest of the evening. I'm looking forward to, hopefully, a great evening of writing. And we'll see you over where Black is here in a couple of seconds. Have a good evening. Tomorrow, Aaron will be on 1 p.m. Pacific for... No, not tomorrow. Friday for Ask an Old GM. And I will be back on Sunday at 1 p.m. for Sable's World Forge. Have a good afternoon.